change ringers to order. And I've got the official gavel to do that. I did not bring, this is a little bit of welcome, the Shercliffe desk set because in conversation with the rest of the executive, we decided it would be safer and more secure to leave it where it is instead of going through security, through an airplane and all that good stuff. And I didn't want to have to explain it all, and it's safer there. So, but there is an information sheet that explains that this was a gift to the NAG. And I'm not going to spend, most of you have already heard the story. So if anybody has any real questions, this explains it all. It was a gift to the NAG. And I haven't had it appraised yet, but I think we should because I think it's an asset to the Guild. All right, so that's that. I got the gavel, which I did bring, and official welcome. I'm delighted to be back in Sewanee. Bittersweet though it is, since the last time I was here was with Bruce in 2016. Bruce taught the art modules 1 and 2 on a Saturday and Sunday to 8 participants from Marietta, Hendersonville, as well as Sewanee. I think Gail is here somewhere. Gail was in the group, and Keith is not here, but he was in the group. And there were, like I said, Marietta, I think it was Derek and Charlie. I'm trying to remember who else. Bob, you were in the group. And it was a very nice weekend. We had a really enjoyable time. So I hope you enjoy your time here as much as we did, renewing friendships and delight in the ringing and social activities the locals have planned and scheduled for us. It was a pleasure to accept the invitation for Sewanee to host their first NAGCR AGM. Just a little arm twisting. It is so exciting to see so many first-timers to an AGM. Although some of them are not here, they decided probably to do something else, but okay. From a quick check, there are more than 20 towers represented. A great geographical distribution. I knew that Breslin Bells would be a great draw. Here today at this meeting, honorary life members that are here: Beverly Faber, Ed Futcher, Don Morrison, Quilla Roth, and myself. We have 2 founding members, Quilla and Cecily. Quilla's here, Cecily is not, but she is here. The executives that are here today in person is Tom Farthing, Rick Dupuy, okay, Quilla is over here, and myself, Mary Platt, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Josh Burson. Okay. Ex-execs that are in here, this are past presidents: Porter Brownlee, Madeline Cheeseman. I'm glad that you were able to come. Also, we have Bob Aldinger, Beverly Faber, Chris Haller, Candace Higginbottom, Don Morrison, Scott Stricker. Did I miss anybody? Okay. Overseas, Bill Hibbert is here. He used to be a NAG member, a resident member when he lived in Texas. Margaret's with him, his wife, and I remember Bill and Margaret with their youngest son, who I was just told he's 31 and getting married, so it's been a while. But now he lives in England. And John Mulvey also. Is John here? No. Okay. Apologies for absence. Rob Bannister unfortunately had booked a holiday with his family, a long cruise, and that was before this was scheduled. Mary Platt, who unfortunately has re-injured herself playing pickleball. Alan Nunley, Diane Amison Loring, who was our newsletter editor for quite some time. I will say Josh Burson, who said he might not be able to get online, and Lynn Codrich. Do I have any others who want to extend apologies for absence? Does anybody have anybody? Diane Amison Loring?
No last name.
That must be her. I'm sure that's her. Thank you. Okay. The next part is going to be hard because we have lost a lot of members this year, unfortunately. I just learned that Phil Rogerson died in December 2023. He was a member since 1991, and he was a member in Rochester. Peter Trotman died in January 2024, and he was a member since 1989, and he was Brewster. Deborah Scores, February 2024. She was a member since 2019 from Rochester. Terry Glab, they said she died in April 2024, but we know it was earlier than that. We know it was March 2024. And she was a member since 1999 from Philadelphia. Judith Hunt, April 2024. And she was a member since 1998, and she rang in Toronto. Kirk Waldron was May 2024. And he was a member since 2001 and was very instrumental in getting Palmer in Houston up and running. And he was just put onto the Roll of Honor earlier this year. Don Trumpler died in June 2024. He was an honorary life member, and he was a founding member, and he rang in Philadelphia as well as early on in Smith in Northampton. Alan Batten, July 2024, honorary life member, founding member of the Guild, and he rang in Victoria, British Columbia. Inactive members who had previously been members: Gail Graves, November 2023, from Houston. Hardy Cole, February 2024, rang in Shreveport. Now, Austin, I think they're living in. Alan Durfee Smith, he died in May 2024, and he was also a founding member. And I wanted to mention Diane Amison Loring's very supportive husband. And they're down now. Well, she's in Tampa. Does anybody have any others that I've missed that need to be recorded? Bessenbrook? But she was a member at, okay, thank you. I thank you. Miriam? Oh, that's a good, yes, Andrew Johnson. So when did he pass? Yeah, okay. Who else is missed? I hope it's all. All right, can we all stand for a moment of silence? Thank you. Adoption of the minutes of the 2023 AGM. Do I have a motion? Thanks, Bob Crystal. Second, Linda Rankin, thank you. All in favor? Against? Any abstent? I'm not even gonna go there. Okay. Any matters arise, like Linda Rankin. Oh, I should have introduced Kathy Solomon, who is John's lovely wife, who has volunteered to take our minutes.
God bless you.
And we all know Mike over there, and Gareth somewhere. He has been our tech person. So thank you to Garrett. Okay. Any matters arising from the minutes? Anybody see anything they want to mention, bring up? Okay, we'll move on. Adoption of the 2023 annual report. Do I have a motion to adopt? Helen Haller. Second. Gil Snowden. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? All right. I noticed, I have one small correction on page 66 in the annual report. Since 2021, no one noticed that Tennessee was misspelled on the unattached members list. I happened to be going through it, getting ready for this meeting, and I saw it, and I couldn't believe that it was there and that nobody caught it since 2021. And then 2020, it was okay. So we'll make sure that's corrected next for the 2024 annual report. 66, page 66. Okay. So the next thing is the state of the guild. And I'm probably going to move around a little bit as I was rereading it because things get then mentioned later on. So and I've got to read it because I don't know this. I didn't memorize these pages. The NAGCR is continuing its resurgence after the lows during the COVID years. I know that many ringers that are here in Sewanee are participating in their first ever annual general meeting. And many of them are young, eager, and energetic. I see also many that rarely come to AGMs. I think the opportunity to ring at Sewanee was a major draw. Gosh, look, I mean, this is just the perfect venue, the perfect weather. It just perfect everything. But whatever the reason, it is good to see a very nice crowd in attendance. And I appreciate all of you that actually came to the meeting. So that's good. The executive committee meets on a regular basis on Sunday evenings at 7:30 every 4 to 6 weeks, mostly by Zoom, and continues to work well as a team for the guild and its members. Executive interim reports have been posted for you to review and will be printed in the upcoming issue of the Clapper. There's a lot of information in all the annual reports, interim reports. Please read them. I don't want to rehash everything unless somebody has a specific question that thinks it's for the good of the group. You can talk to the individual officer if you want. Is there anything that anybody wants to bring up now for the interims? Okay, good. So your executive committee works very hard throughout the year. Our treasurer, Rob Bannister, had booked a celebratory family cruise before this event, like I said earlier. He is disappointed not to be here, but his interim has been posted and he will answer any questions. He has done a great job with having our monies make money. We are also missing Josh Burson, newsletter editor, who will have served for 3 years but needs to step down. His commitment to communicating with the area reps and cajoling them and others to write reports and articles for the Clapper has made the newsletter even more interesting than it always was. Rick Dupuy continues to keep our peel and quarter peel records up to date and takes excellent minutes of our exec meetings. Mary Platt was to have been here, but like I said earlier, another injury kept her from coming. She does a yeoman's job keeping the membership lists and databases current. And she has just provided a 2-page description of what and when she does certain reports. I think in the directory of information that Tom put out online and was in the email, it's part of that. So you can read everything she does. And at some point, all the officers will have done the same thing. So it'll be available. Quilla Roth ably leads the Ringing Education Development Discussion Team, which meets regularly to discuss teaching needs and workshop requests and other related issues. Last year's offshoot group, Recruitment and Retention, has now joined with Red. Okay, and the issues of these two groups are overlapping. So we sort of combined them. It's now, and 3 of us were on both committees, and it was just made more sense to combine them because we had so much of the same things that we talked about. Tom Farthing, Public Relations Officer, provided some outstanding publicity for several of the Ringing Weekend events, resulting in some excellent coverage, especially for this year's 7 Towers Festival. His organization of the online gatherings have provided us with interesting presentations on a variety of ringing topics. That's what I was going to ask you. The last of the online gatherings will be held early in 2025, and it would be great if we could have a large turnout. Do we have a date for that? No. Okay. Tom's assistance with the website is invaluable. His administration of the Jeff Smith Memorial Young Ringer Award provided us with 3 recipients this year. Emil Elfert from Vancouver, Xavier Silva from Kalamazoo, and from Sewanee, Meredith Frazee. Is she here? She is. Meredith. We asked you to come to the front, to come. Yes.
Take your time, or so just so you know, there's I think 3 goals of the Honorary Awards to encourage young men to move up with the reading group been helpful, and so I agree with that. Two, I hope it's motivation for the local area to encourage young leaders to be involved in the group and agree. So, and that, is to be commended, certainly in the other groups. They made an effort to include people. The third goal I think of is the way we can create out of the ether, we can create a media. Right? They don't know if it's a news or not, we call it news. And of course, we've had 3 recipients this year, and each one of them had either print or television media. So there are 4 requirements for earning the award. One, you have to be young, 22. You need to be a member of the guild. You need to show that you are able ringer, and that's evidenced by a court appeal or appeal within the year. And the 4th is that you need to have evidence that you have made a commitment to the local group. So I'm going to read a quick one. Read what John Solomon had to say about the phrasing. So, there we go. Meredith has been a consistent and reliable member of Sewannee's band for 3+ years and has contributed enormously to its progress by assisting Ray Gotko with bringing instruction as a tutor to Sewanee students. Meredith's quiet enthusiasm, willingness to learn, and a friendly manner have made a remarkable impact on both community and student life. So, it is my great pleasure on behalf of the Guild to introduce Crazy with our recognition of your efforts and this copy of Steve Coleman's The Ringing and History Companion.
And at some point, we'll get a book plate for you to put inside. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I got it wrong. Emil is not from Vancouver. He's from Victoria. So that has to be corrected in my notes. I don't know why I said Vancouver. I knew it was Victoria, but I typed in Vancouver. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Margaret. And you'll hear more about Margaret in a minute. Okay. As I continue to clean out my house, I have come across more material that may or may not be archival. And Mike Harrison, our guild archivist, has promised to review, cull, and make decisions on what we need to keep and retain. Ken Brinson, our webmaster, ensures that the newsletters and annual report gets posted in a timely fashion. Ann Hutton continues to manage the Canadian accounts for Rob, and Micah Walter has been very helpful to Josh as his editorial assistant. I thank Mona Houle for her work on our Instagram account and hope that it will see more traffic. There have been 2 photographic contests on the platform. Mike Hinton from Quebec/Toronto won the first one for his interesting active picture, and he got a prize. And we had a second one that the contest ended on the 21st of September, but there were not many entries. So we've extended the deadline. There's no deadline yet, but we've extended the deadline. And that was going to be pictures that attract non-ringers. And we should have plenty now to choose from after this weekend. So hopefully we'll get a lot of them put onto Instagram or look at the ones we have got on the platform that the Sewanee people set up for us. The Guild was represented at the 2024 Central Council meeting in Exeter, Devon, by myself, Beverly Faber, and Chris Haller. A report on the details of that meeting will be in the upcoming issue of the Clapper. I must also thank some members for volunteering to help with the Central Council. Alan Nunley is a steward of the Fred Dukes Grants, as well as being a member of the Tower and Stewardship Committee. Work group, excuse me, it's no more committees. Laura Ward has joined the publications group, and Kira Chase has become the work group leader of the technical and taxonomy work group, which also has Tim Barnes as a member. And of course, Beverly Faber is a trustee on the executive. Is anybody else that I've missed that works with the Central Council in some form or another that hasn't shared that with us? Okay, well, there's a lot of things we could be doing with them. And it's nice to have North American Guild people give their input. Participation in advertised ringing events keeps increasing, as there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm. Just in October alone, 3 out of the 4 weekends has a ringing weekend scheduled. The first weekend this month, there was the return of the striking competition at Trinity in New York City. And Kalamazoo's ringing weekend will be the last weekend in October. Next weekend. Is that the last weekend? No, not quite, but I think it was. No, maybe it is the last weekend. It is the last weekend. And of course, we're all here for the event of the year, the AGM, being in Sewanee. So many other events to look forward to. The Newcastle Dinner and Ringing in November, the Bruce Butler Annual Memorial Ringing Weekend in Philly, the 12 Bell Practice Weekend in Toronto, Quebec's Annual Ringing Weekend, Kalamazoo Weekends, the Westminster Abbey Ringing Weekend, the Seven Towers Festival. It is getting hard to keep track of all the possible trips. So more on this later. One of the issues that I've recently been concerned with is the silent and inactive or dormant towers. Last year at the Toronto AGM, I noted that contact had been made with a number of these towers. I am very pleased to share that there has been quite a bit of energizing around the Guild. St. Thomas's and St. Paul's in Houston have been recruiting and training ringing. And it was Alan's anniversary celebration in January that lit a fire. And I thank the Raishes, Peggy and John back there, for initiating this celebration of his 50th years of ringing. And it sort of brought the 3 Houston towers back together again. Texarkana hosted a wonderful Towers Festival in April, and that event also ignited some interest in ringing. However, Remicka Gray reports that after the summer slowdown, it is difficult getting the learners back into the tower, but she's working on it. I have had several conversations with the incumbent at Miami, and he is so keen to see ringing. They were on the list of towers that were to be inspected by tailors, which Tom went on this trip of about, what was it, 12 or 13 towers?
15.
Okay. And due to some misunderstandings, the bells were not inspected. There was some technical issues that they couldn't get into the tower, even though they thought they could. So the inspection didn't get done. But once that is completed and we know the bells are safe to ring, there will be recruitment for some new ringers and communications to past ringers. Abilene reports that their bells have been looked at and are ready to begin ringing again. And from the Copeland House at Bluestone Farm, the new owners of the Brewster Bells are interested in having the bells ring again. So I don't know if anybody saw me. No, I guess it was Thursday. Was it Thursday? It was one day this week. It was either Thursday or Friday. I was trying to get up to the tower, and I got a call from the artistic and executive director who was on his way to Louisville for some concert or something that he was playing in. And he kept me on the phone for about 40 minutes. He must have been driving because he was talking to me, and he just sent I don't know what you call it, like a flip book. It's online flip book. You can go through the pages. He just sent it to me, and we're going to have it online. I think you probably could get it from their website, but I'll put it online so you can read about it. But he is extremely interested. And when I talked earlier to an administrative assistant, he suggested that interested ringers can write a message to them. And if you want to donate money to the institution with the money's being designated for the bells, that would be nice. And even they might have open up the site for people to look at it. And they're having this big gala and whatever. It sounds like at some point the bells will be ringing again. So it's exciting. Yes, Melrose School. But it's now called Copeland House at Bluestone Farm. So Anna Gladstone has reported that handbell ringing has restarted in Eugene, Oregon on Friday evenings. The church near Wilton, Connecticut, Georgetown Oratory, has put a deposit on the old Cleator Moore bells and has found 2 donors to augment to a 10-bell tower. So that's something to look forward to. Where's David? So you got your work cut out for you when that tower goes up. Milwaukee, the project is still on hold. I just got a message from the rector there, and I quote, "We've paused the effort for the time being with the possibility of taking it up again in the context of a future comprehensive capital campaign." So that doesn't sound very promising at all. So Roland's bells are still waiting for a home. Tom, do you want to give an update on the sound control?
Sure, yep. So you may know that the Howers donated bells to the University of Chicago, and they were installed. The good news is, they were installed last year. However, construction was not completed, and they didn't do that for a while. We were out of the tower for 15 months. If you asked me this question a month or 2 ago, I would have been pretty dark. But they completed the green room, and we're back in the tower. I was concerned about sound, both inside and out. When we tested the bells, they were installed without the finishing off. They were really but there's carpeting, there's finished walls, and there's some protection over the trap door. So they're not perfect, but they're usable. And I think we can make some improvements. Was concerned about the sound control. Didn't seem to work at all when we tested last summer. I'm not sure what's different, but it seems pretty good right now. I think we can improve it as we can ring them up. So
That's excellent news.
So we have an annual gathering in May. So I think that we're going to turn that into a.
Great. That's
I don't know what
okay. Thank you. From Dallas, I had an email. This is also from the rector. And it could have been a little bit more encouraging, but he writes, "For us," and I quote again, "re-engagement will need to be more than folks glad to ring the bells, but the fruit of renewed trust and relationships with our neighbors." So I know that there's always been some issue with the bells making too much noise and people not happy, but somehow we need to help them out in some respect, but I don't know how yet. So, and there isn't anybody really living there that knows too much about the bells or wants to learn. So that's also on hold. I'll end with more of a positive. Newcastle has started ringing again. It's Newcastle, Delaware, with practices and Sunday service ringing. This transpired after Philly visited last November and this past May for a day in Old Newcastle. And since Beverly Faber has now moved there, she has reinstated the Newcastle dinner to be held on November 9th this year, in a few weeks. And she even has some registration forms, and she will accept money. And if anybody wants to come, we'd love to see you. We're hoping we'll have a big crowd, but I don't know how big it will be. But that's November 9th. And I enjoy reading the Clapper and the area reports that are always inside the Clapper. And then again, this weekend, hearing and talking to so many ringers, I think in my opinion, the Guild is quite healthy in a lot of ways and a lot better off than many associations and guilds around the world, from what I've talked to certain groups and certain branch officers and districts. And I'm happy with the state of the Guild. We have a lot more to do, but it's moving along and it's much better than it was during those years of COVID. So I will continue now with executive actions report. We've reinstituted putting our executive actions in the spring and fall clappers. So there'll be an additional couple of executive actions that we took earlier this year. But at this last meeting, we said that we always have an exchange rate review between Canada and the US, that once again, there will be no change for 2025. And I'm sure our Canadians will be thrilled about that. And we accepted invites for 2025 and 2026. We will be in Hawaii, October 11th to the 16th, and Richard might say something later about it, unless you want to talk now. We'll do it during announcements. And Victoria, September 4th to the 7th, 2026. So I'm excited that we start making some plans. We also approved honorary life proposals for ballot. So there'll be a ballot. Mary Platt and Bob Aldinger. So I can read the proposals now, or I think I will read them under new business. Old business. The handbells never got to Quebec this year. There was some kind of miscommunications, but they are on their way now. Well, they
haven't gone anywhere yet.
They haven't gone anywhere, but at least they've made the first step. We thought they were going to get in March when we had our the Bruce Butler Memorial Ringing Weekend. We thought they were going to go from one hands to another hands and then get into Canada, but that didn't happen. But they've now gone from one hands, they've gone to the Cheeseman, so we'll take them, and hopefully Mike Hinton will pick them up in Toronto, and when he visits his mother, he'll take them to Quebec. So it's just too difficult to get them any other way there. So the other old business, the Peel Board project, Meredith is still working on that, and we'll continue on that, and we'll put out another request for pictures of peel boards, and that's for the Central Council. Bells on Sunday. It would be really nice to have some recordings of maybe Monday's peel attempt that could be sent over, and maybe we could then have it on a Bells on Sunday with the fact that it was done after the AGM in Sewanee. So that would be nice. And maybe now, Richard, we can work on thinking about getting ready to do that next year. And of course, anybody can do that for their tower, because it'd be really nice to get some recordings of our towers here on Bells on Sunday. Yes, Meredith.
If anybody has any questions about doing that, Rob Gibson recorded the Washington Cathedral bells, and we have been on Bells on Sunday. So he'll be able to give you some more information about how to do it.
Right, and I have there's a Phil
We do
Orm.
have some technical requirements
Yes.
about it.
I have a sheet if anybody wants it. Phil Orm, who manages it and schedules them out, has them here. I put this up. This is from last year on the January 28th, 2022. So if anybody wants that, they can take that or look at it. So that is, no, social media. Our various means of communications. We have a Facebook page, North American Ringers. We have an Instagram account, and we have a chat list. Doesn't seem to be getting much support or traffic, although there was a bit on North American Ringers this weekend. Thank you, Richard, for starting that little thread. So it would be nice to see us communicating more that way. That would be nice. So new business. In the past years, we used to have a calendar was distributed both in hard copy and available to members online. It was always sometime we used to insert it into the clapper. The calendar has not been created in recent years. COVID came. We didn't have that many ringing events for a while. But I've been asked whether it will be reestablished. It was very useful for members. A lot of people, I would visit people and they would have it on their refrigerator. They would print it out if they didn't get the hard copy, and they could then plan their attendance at ringing activities, as well as for towers planning future activities and not wishing to conflict with other people and other events. Perhaps you can let me know if you think it's useful to have a guild ringing events calendar. And if there is interest, maybe there is someone who would like to undertake this project. So,
Why are you looking at me?
you know why I'm looking at you. But, really do get, if there's anybody wants to comment about it now, I can.
We will not entertain motions to adjourn.
Well, it's just a thought. I mean, a lot of, yes, Tom?
Go ahead, but there's two things I want to say, but are you done? Or
Like done about what?
what you were just saying? I don't want to interrupt.
I'm done about the calendar.
Okay.
Not done. Go ahead.
Okay, two things I want to say before we go is all. One about the Chicago Bells. I'm sorry I didn't mention it.
We're back to.
When
Wait a minute.
It'll be quick. When I teach, I pull intentionally light, so the bells won't go over the balance. I tell you what, I'm really struggling to do that because the bells go so well. And there's a breeze, which is great news. So I'm going to use the bells, but that's wonderful. Tomorrow, we are going to we're set to ring at 2 services.
on handbills.
This is an
So if you would be willing to help out with that.
announcement.
You guys are wrong, but please see me. on handbills tomorrow.
Tom, you will have an opportunity during announcements.
Yeah, so.
He's done it now.
Is the calendar a moneymaker?
No, it was the one, you remember what it looked like. It was one sheet. We didn't sell, no, we didn't. Oh, if you're going, that was a different calendar. That was an annual calendar. We did it once for the Ringing World, back in, I think in the mid-90s. And we didn't make any money. Ringing World made the money. And then I think the following year, we did a North American Guild calendar that we did sell, and it was all black line prints, I think. I don't think we did photographs for that one. And we did sell it. And that was fun. I mean, that's a project that can be taken on too. If somebody wants to do one, it's too late to do a 2025 one, I think, but we could do a 2026 year-long calendar. Yes, Paul.
I'm glad John asked that question because I think I was confused. I was thinking of the picture calendar, monthly calendar.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about, is it a,
I should have brought a picture of it.
so it's,
Key ringing events mentioned.
On
so
both sides.
it does show the whole, it's not just a list of events, it shows the year.
It shows, yeah, the
So
calendar.
it has 12 months on it and
Around the borders, there was lists of every month.
Oh,
like what was
right.
going on.
Remember that?
right, okay, yeah. So having a list of the events, whether it's portrayed in calendar form that way or just a list.
It was just a list on each side. It was like January to June on one side and then July through December on the other side. And it had the dates of the events and listed in order. So people could then plan, oh, I want to go to Little Rock, because it's the Towers Festival. I want to go to the Ringing Weekend, Newcastle's this weekend. And we had it. And then we used to have quite a few because all the Mid-Atlantic area meetings were on there. And the New England area meetings were on there. So people could plan their year of traveling out. And it always got a lot of compliments when it was done. But again, that went by the wayside. The area meetings disappeared. COVID came. But now I think we're coming back, that there's becoming a lot of events again that people like wanted. And, I got a request about getting it started again. So I thought it was a good idea. Okay. So now I'm not ready for announcements.
I have a question.
Oh, I got to get
I have a
moving.
question.
Okay.
Elaine?
I have a question.
Oh, Brian,
Whatever happened with updating the appeal books?
updating what?
Appeal books. You know, the
Knew
appeal
somebody
books?
would. I knew somebody was going to ask that. Did we talk about that this morning? I mean, new pill books.
Yeah. When did it end? I mean, what was the last time we?
Go ahead, Rick.
It was through 2002. And we have enough new peels since then for 2 new red volumes of guild peels and 2 new blue volumes of non-guild peels. We have plates, Eileen has the plates which we're embossing the covers. So technically speaking, we have what we need there. Obviously, the project would be a big project of reading and shepherding and printing and there's a lot of moving pieces. We've had plenty of people volunteer over the years. Oh, I'll look at proofreading, I'll do all of that. I think that I understand that in the previous years we identified that we had probably the money to do it if there was real interest. We would ask if there was interest. As the answer was always very ambiguous. There was not a real answer in the AGM ever. I know that I leave it, but I think for it to happen, we have all the pieces we need to accept somebody volunteer to be the driving force.
We need to, yeah. Right. We've got the money. And we can get, and if you look at the peel books, they're beautiful, but there was a lot of work putting them together. You need the archival paper, the footnotes need to be checked, the spelling needs to be checked. Then you come up with the print and the font you want, and it is a lot of work. And I remember, what was it? the Trumplers did a lot with it, proofing and rereading and rewriting. It's time consuming and it's not going to happen overnight. But if there's somebody that wants to get a committee going and start doing it, that's fine. I think it's a lot of work. Yes, Eddie.
I thought in the Boston AGM it had been decided not to make any more peel books at that point.
Don't remember the decision.
Yes.
It was sort of tabled. It was sort of tabled for the time being. Yes, Bob.
I think the discussion largely went around, what ends up happening? They end up sitting in some place.
Exactly.
Nobody looks at them forever and ever.
Right.
There used to be an effort, and at times when somebody had access to them and had a car, they might bring them or somebody.
There's one here today. There's one here now.
There's one volume in the education on thanks to Meredith who drove it for you.
So anyway, I think that was the main element in terms of, we put a lot of money, it would be a huge amount of money, although there is money available from a bequest from some years back that we had talked about using when I was still treasurer. But the business of practically speaking, and we're going to have internet access to all of these records thanks to a number of people, is it really worth putting that money into this tremendous effort of putting them together? And then presumably that's also a decision to keep them going.
Yeah.
But if you don't know this because you've never seen the handbooks, this is your plug. Make sure you go look at it and enjoy the work that the committee put into it back in 2002. And then ask yourself whether it's worth doing that again.
Right.
There's one book there, so enjoy it.
Maybe you want to put that on the ballot, a question. So, yeah, thanks, Brian, for bringing it up. So it's still, it's out there, but it's doesn't, yes, Lindsay.
I will say that I belong to another organization that had a similar issue raised. And frankly, we made the decision that it really wasn't worth it because nobody bothered to look at them. And then
Right.
somebody had to store them.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to store them.
Right. And then somebody
I
has to get them. It's yeah. Any other thoughts on that? Yes, it is getting into archival. Right. And that could easily happen. We know that.
So we could have a fire,
I know. And as we keep bringing more and more peels, there's more and more books that need to be done. Bob and then Bill and
Keeping archival records, running a piece of paper that's a copy of all the fields would be a relatively easy thing to do. So if you're concerned about having a paper copy, that's not an issue really. That could be done fairly routinely and fairly easily.
but you'd still want to put it on archival paper. Just reprint them.
Having printed copies of fields would not be an issue.
Bill? Bill?
I just wanted to make a comment about whether or not the Bell Board records are safe. Because
Well,
I'm part of the Bell Board development team. I've done a lot of work on it over the recent years. And the data is extremely well backed up in multiple locations. And the ringing world has determined that it will preserve that data for the foreseeable future.
right.
And the other advantage of the Bell Board records is the corrections and amendments. That when a change is made to a Peel on Bell Board, there's a record of the change and who made it and why.
And when, probably.
And so in that sense, it's a better record than a printout taken a year ago. And then it turns out that the details have changed and they were incorrect when it was printed.
So from what I hear, people think that it's not worthwhile to continue printing appeal books. I know the college youths do it, and I know the Cumberlands do it. I don't know about other associations really, if they have appeal books or not. And if,
Elizabeth started reading later than 2002.
right.
There is a certain risk for us.
And
I think all the books, but my name is never in them.
well, that's a good point, Rick. That's an excellent point. Paul?
There is the possibility of a kind of an in-between solution of creating the same artistry that's in the paper book, but presenting it in a digital form online as a digital virtual appeal book that could give the same satisfaction and be more.
Edward does work on making templates that we can export from our spreadsheet in the same format as the book. So actually, there's a particular page since 2003 that you want to see it in that same format.
So,
Yeah.
so then you could print something in that format for a appeal that you rung in and frame it? Yes,
Oh, I see.
Yes.
yes. Well, that's
Yourself
perfect then.
opposed to it being-
That settles the answer.
Yeah, with certified accuracy.
All right, anybody else have any comments? Thanks, Brian.
It's Meredith's fault. She brought the appeal book and I saw it.
So I still, like I said, I still have the plates, and I guess I'm going to keep them unless somebody wants to take them. Well, that's what I was thinking, giving them to Mike. I give them to Mike. All right, several months ago, I contacted I'm back to new business again. All right. A number of past executive members with the plan to brainstorm on the subject of succession planning. This has been of significant concern for me in ensuring the future of the Guild. I met with a number of past executive members twice via Zoom. These meetings were very successful and resulted in the email message you received from Mary Platt. Tomorrow, everyone is invited to participate in a roundtable discussion at noon over lunch in the Tower Room at McClurg Hall. We do want to hear from you, the members, on how we can ensure the future of the Guild and ringing in North America. The energy and enthusiasm of the youth of the Guild is very encouraging, and I look forward to hearing all the ideas you might have. So we can get our lunch, and then we in McClurg, or bring your lunch or whatever, and the room is on the second level. And it will also be Zoomed for anybody that wants to take part. The Central Council's Recruitment and Development Work Group has a mini subcommittee titled Recruit, Regain, and Retain. They are looking for some overseas volunteers to serve, and Charles Rumford and Faith Magwood have offered to work with them. If anyone else may be interested, please let me know. And in fact, I got a message from Stephanie Pendlebury, who is on the Recruitment and Development Work Group, and she's just written to Faith and to Charles. But if anybody else wants to participate, that would be great. All right, I will now read the honorary life proposals right in front of me. So, and I will read Mayor, it doesn't matter. I'll read Bob Aldinger, who's here. Proposal for honorary life membership. The Executive Committee proposes Bob Aldinger for honorary life membership in the North American Guild. Bob served as treasurer from 2011 to 2022. His management of our monies was exemplary. He had no problems moving into the position, taking over from Rosalie Crouch's excellent handling of the books. Marty, Bob's wife, learned to ring in Pinner, England, when they were living there. And when they moved to Hawaii, Bob learned to ring at St. Andrews in Honolulu. And they quickly became important members of the team there. They became North American Guild members in 1998 and were involved in the planning of the 2000 AGM, which was the first one in Hawaii. The Aldingers retired to Hendersonville, North Carolina, and Bob quickly moved into a leadership role at St. James. He was very instrumental in the planning and implementation of both the 2013 and the 2018 AGMs that were held there. Bob always made himself available and went above and beyond to help and assist not only the executive committee, but any members with queries, comments, and suggestions. Bob transitioned with Rob Bannister to ensure that everything was in order, as well as provided ongoing support during Rob's critical first year. So that's Bob Aldinger, and Bob is here today with Marty, and we're pleased to do that.
Mention all the nightmare things we went through.
No,
You didn't want
no, we didn't mention that.
You entertain a motion to, is this going to be on a ballot or?
Yes, it'll be on, it,
It has to be done by.
oh, it has to be by,
Our bylaws is good. On the
Okay, thanks.
goes on the annual ballot, but thank you, John, for wanting to make a motion. This next one is from Mary Platt, and this came from Beverly Faber, who wrote, "Dear Eileen and the exec members, I would like to nominate Mary Platt for honorary life membership. Mary has been the membership secretary for the last 8 years and is continuing into her 9th year. She has been doing an excellent work in a job that can consume much of one's life. I did this for 11 years, so I certainly know how much this job requires. Prior to that, Mary was editor of the Clapper for 3 years and did a wonderful job in that position as well. Since there are a few members that are willing to take on positions in the North American Guild, someone willing to volunteer to do more than her share needs to be commended. Regards, Beverly." So those two will be on the ballot. Now I will go to announcements. And there's quite a few of them, so bear with me. First of all, most important of all, I want to thank everyone in Sewanee for such a fantastic weekend. And we still have a lot more to experience. And thanks to John's wife, Kathy, for taking the minutes. We already mentioned the appeal books on display. I already, well, Eddie, when we had the AGM in Raleigh, was able to get us a 25% discount for the Ringing World subscriptions. And we were able to continue it last year. And when I talked to Will at the Central Council meeting, he said, why not? Let's do it again. So I thank Eddie for initiating this a couple of years ago. So if anybody wants to get the Ringing World subscription, you can do it either online or printed copy. It's for all new or lapsed subscribers, NAG subscribers. So the information's here, and it's really nice to support the Ringing World. I will order Ringing World diaries and calendars, as well as the Coleman books. You know, the book service was dissolved because we weren't getting any, it's funny. Now, all of a sudden, people are writing to me, how can I get this? Somebody wanted the new Ringers book, but I direct them now because for some reason, I guess I'm still listed on the website as book service agent. I don't know. I'm still getting inquiries.
We'll look into that.
Thank you, Tom. So, but that's fine. Somebody wanted the new Ringers book. So I told them how to get it. If anybody wants a diary, it's $17. A calendar, it's $15.75. So, okay. So I did that. I did that. The art conference is March 15th, 16th in York next year, which would be a nice thing if you can get over there. Nominations are open until November 2nd. And I was going to say that we need a newsletter editor, as well as nominations for any of our offices are still open and available. And if anybody wants to run, please put your name in, send it to me.
Will result amongst the
But we don't need, Margaret Ketchen of Victoria has volunteered, and I hope she's still on, to be our newsletter secretary. Yes! Margaret did it back in 2000. I'll tell you in a minute. Should have it written down, but she was moved 2005, 2006, and 2007. She did it for 3 years, did a fantastic job, and she is willing to take it on again. So we're happy about that. But if there's anybody else that, might want to do it, that would be great too. What else? When I was cleaning out my house, and I'm still cleaning it out, those of you that knew Bruce knew he never threw out anything. So I have every schedule, everything from every AGM, every ringing weekend, whatever, every Towers Festival from first 3 Towers Festival. And I have 3 boxes, which I'm going to go through again with Mike Harrison. But some of the stuff that I found were some of the things that he produced when he was public relations officer, and they're here for taking. We did things like things that people framed, certified when you became a resident member of the guild, pages like when you rang your first peal and who were in it. Some people have these framed in their dens or offices. I've got copies of quarter peal records. The bells ring out for a special occasion. Some of this was also sort of taken from what they had in the UK, where they would put these signs out by their tower. We need more ringers, this, that, and the other. Of course, we don't do a lot of print stuff anymore. But if anybody wants any of these blank forms to make copies and do something with, they're here for the taking. Rang your first peal. In fact, I found one that was never presented, dated 1992. On Saturday, March 14th. This was Peter Trotman's first peal, so I will give it to Beverly. I don't know why it was never given to Peter, but it's here. We had it done really nice calligraphy, and I think it was by David Mills. Richard, do you want to come say something about Hawaii for next year, please?
The whole feeling of deja vu, because in 2019, I attended the Boston AGM, and announced that we were 2020, which then got cancelled because it was in September of 2020. So I would love to invite all of you. It's such a lovely time here, reconnecting with good friends and meeting new people. So I'd love to invite everybody to Honolulu again. As I mentioned, October 11th to 16th next year, which is a Saturday and Wednesday. It'll be a very, very tough act to follow. Just Molly Gibbs here has done a really amazing job. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing venue. Honolulu's a pretty nice place to be. I'm quite partial to it and can almost guarantee phenomenal weather. Although this weather's been really nice.
Yeah, but they haven't had any rainbows.
Lovely rainbows.
I know, they haven't had it here.
Yes, we will have rainbows every day. I'm looking
for participation. I was able to connect with David Smith in the UK, and whose hometown is Brisbane. And that's how the secret got out. That's how the secret got out. And he wanted to encourage a lot of the ANZAC, the Australia New Zealand Guild people, to join in Honolulu as those 2,000. So we should have good representation there. I've never done anything like this before. It's going to be a lot of work. I'd appreciate advice, tips, and phone calls and emails over the coming many weeks. Need to remember, if anyone has questions, suggestions, where to stay, how to fly there, our combined email address in for the ringers is hi, just take it away, hi@bellringers@gmail.com. hi@bellringers@gmail.com. So please get in touch and join us next year.
I have two comments from the chat, and this is from Faith Magwood, who's from Victoria, and it's from Emil Elfert, has asked me to convey his gratitude for his Young Ringer Award. He regrets that he could not participate in the Zoom AGM, but he has duties elsewhere this afternoon. So that's from Faith. And Margaret Ketchen says, I still have gray hair from when I did it before. So, and again, I'll just remind you, I've got a lot of, I didn't show it all, but there's a lot of promotional material. If anybody wants to look at it and think they can, change it to their tower or make copies, you're more than welcome to look at some of these things. There's some things from the Association of Ringing Teachers, all kinds of stuff. Does anybody have any other business or announcements? I see hands going up. Helen?
This is a question. Is there any kind of a manual on how to put on?
Yes, there is. There's the AGM cookbook, which was done quite a few years ago. And then Madeline updated it, right? AGM cookbook. And I think we sent it to Sewanee. They got it. And I know now we can update it more because there's more and more things we can do. So there is a cookbook out there.
So Richard will be putting advice.
Yes, from that. Yes. And I have offered to go out and visit like I did in 2020 with Bruce. And actually we had the whole thing was all planned out. We had the banquet room was planned out. Everything was done. It was very, very upsetting. COVID really reared its ugly head. Yes, I was there.
Wow.
I was there in February 2020, and you know what happened in March of 2020.
That's a place to start.
Paul?
This is a question. Could you repeat the announcement you made earlier about 2026 AGM?
Yes, it's Victoria and September 4th through the 7th. 4th through the 7th. And that's, I think, Labor Day weekend. What's the matter, Beverly?
Council week.
Well, it's the council weekend, so, what can we do? The council should have never changed their dates. They should have kept them in May, but then we couldn't go to Quebec weekend. So, I mean, and, all right, anybody else? Yes, Porter.
You expressed justified pride and praise for your exec committee, and for obvious reasons you admitted yourself, but I think on behalf of us, I'd like to thank you for the job you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a labor of love. Those of you that knew Bruce knew how much he loved this, and I just like to continue in it, and it keeps me busy because when I I'm not busy, I think, and when I think, I get upset. But thank you very much. Porter, that's lovely. Thank you. Anybody else before I use my gavel? Do I have? Oh,
But about
to say,
oh, okay, yeah, everyone's laughing. So tomorrow, we have arrangements with two churches to ring handbells, for service and do a presentation, about handbell ringing and change ringing beforehand. So I would love if you would be help out with that, come see me during the dinner or sometime soon. Okay, thanks.
thank you. Yes, John.
I know you have said thank you, but I do think it'd be a good idea for us to pass a resolution of thanks to the people in Sewanee for all their work. And I think we've got somebody sitting up there who could draft a really good one.
Yes, I mean, I think, between Roy and Mike and John and Rhonda and Kathy and and Bess, I mean, and all the people all the groupies there, they've done a fantastic job. So I agree with you 150%. So, okay, so we got resolutions. That's good. Do I call for a vote? And all in favor? I know there's nobody against. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you. See everybody this evening for a party. Who did move to adjourn? Love you. Who adjourned? Do you want to? What do you want? Okay. You know what? I didn't even see who adjourned. Yeah, Meredith is. Oh, Mike.